Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2024 World Chess Championship match between the champion, Ding Liren from China, and the challenger, Gukesh D from India. This is game number 6 out of 14. The first person to 7.5 points wins the match. They play 120 minutes per person for the first 40 moves without any bonus time. And then on the 41st move, they get 30 more minutes for the rest of the game. After 5 games, the match is tied 2.5, 2.5. This is game number 6. And game 6, as they say, always delivers. In the 2021 World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen and Jan Nepomniachtchi, game 6 was the longest ever game played in a World Championship match. It lasted 8 hours. Let's see if these boys can deliver us an all-time classic. Also, it's December 1st. And later today, Chessly Plus subscribers and certain VIPs will get emails to access Chessly 2.0 beta. I hope. All right? We're troubleshooting it. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to build a website from scratch. It's not easy. Hopefully by within a few hours, that's what I'm going to work on right after I finish this recap. And we'll have it ready for all of you, and you will receive an invite. And for the rest of you, we'll be available in 2 weeks. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Now, Ding with the white pieces opens World Championship game number 6 with d4. Here we go. d4 is the move that was his bread and butter throughout his career. He has made a career being a Catalan player. Gukesh responds knight to f6. This is also the first time that Ding plays d4 in this match. Previously, he played e4, and then he played knight f3, e3, and b3. And my man Ding, in this position, plays the London, a man of class. In the 6th game of the last World Championship match in 2023 against Jan Nepomniachtchi, he also played the London in game 6. Game 6 always delivers, but London's, London is one of the, it's one of the most reputable openings. It's one of the best and easiest openings to play. But it's a little bit depressing at the highest level because these guys know everything. They know so much opening theory in the London. And by theory, I mean they have memorized games. That's why for 99% of you, wherever you end up watching this recap, chess is not like this. Black plays d5. It's the main line. White plays e3. Black plays e6. e6 is fine. c5 is a bit more combative, but it gives white some extra options. Doesn't really matter. e6, knight f3, c5, c3. So this position has been reached a million times. Sometimes here, white plays knight bd2 instead of c3. I generally feel like, historically, this was an inaccurate move order because black would play, there would be lines where black can play queen b6 and then play for an aggressive counterattack over here. But in this version, because black already committed the pawn to e6, it's a little bit different. Anyway, none of that really matters. Gukesh plays bishop d6. This is the modern trend in this opening. You don't play knight c6 first. You try to play bishop d6, and then if white plays bishop g3, you castle, and then you put the queen on c7, and you never committed the knight. This is like the ultra, super duper meta level of the London. None of that matters because Ding goes bishop b5 check, all right? So he's trying to take advantage of the fact that the knight hasn't moved, and he's trying to get it to move. Now, in this position, play has gone bishop g3, black can castle, and then white can castle, and then what black sometimes does here is actually reroutes the knight to the other side of the board because black doesn't want the knight to be on, in the target there. But none of that matters either because here Ding takes the knight. He gives up the bishop for the pawn completely. Now, optically, this actually doesn't look like it makes any sense because what I always say is don't trade the bishop for a knight if you don't have a good reason. In this case, we're doubling the pawns. There's the good reason. But then, another rule for all of you that don't know, if you trade your light squared bishop in chess, you should generally have more pawns on light squares than dark squares. Because your light squares got weaker. You need your pawns to build on the light squares. So you gave up your light squared bishop, and you also have a bunch of pawn on dark squares. Well, now Ding trades the bishop too. So we're just getting a game, all right? This is Ding's motto for this match. It's actually exactly what Magnus himself has said. In the last World Championship match, Ding showed up with 7 games with white, with 7 opening ideas. Like, he's not trying to reinvent the wheel. The same thing here. Ding plays queen a4. Ding hasn't spent any time. He's pinning this pawn to the king. He's going to go here, maybe pin this pawn to this. And I mean, that's basically the protocol here. That's what he is trying to do. Gukesh castles. Ding pins the pawn to the queen. Did I say king? Queen. Sometimes in these morning recaps, I'm sort of yapping, as the kids say. All right. Knight fd2. And one moment. Just have to respond to a message. The point of this is to pry apart the defense of the knight and the pawn. And black plays e5. Now, I'm going to tell you something a bit depressing about this position. This position looks really, really fresh, right? It looks really interesting. White is not castling because he's trying to trade knights and trying to target this pawn. And here's the depressing thing about this position. They memorize this position. They're not playing this position on their own. This position has been played multiple times, including at the 2021 United States Championship of Chess between Sam Savion and Wesley So. If you look at the database, this position has been played. Not only has this position been played, the position where white wins the pawn and black gets counterplay on white has also been played. Knight to d2, Ding isn't spending any time. He's just giving up this pawn so that he can castle queenside. This position has still been played. And now Gukesh takes a second pawn. All the while, Ding plays pawn takes e5. And rook b8, knight c4. Would you like to hear something really depressing? Even this position has been played before. 17 moves. There is one game remaining, and it's a game called from 2022 in what is called correspondence chess. Back in the day, correspondence chess was like, you know, in Harry Potter, they would send mail via owls. That was correspondence chess. There were no computers. So what you would do is you would sit around a board for a week. You would get to have a coffee, go for a walk the dog, go to work, you know, take care of the kids, whatever. You would get to sit and think and then make a move. We can't do that nonsense anymore because now the average computer can beat you. I've lost to a treadmill at a hotel before because the chess computer that was programmed into it was too strong. One day I'm going to lose to a refrigerator, okay? Like, one day the water bottle is going to have an engine in it. Like, so this game was played in 2022 in a correspondence game, and in that game, black played the absurd move, queen f3. I don't even understand this move. I don't get this move. I think the point is that white doesn't have any way to make progress. You basically don't allow white to play rook d2 and double on, like, you keep this rook in your sights, and when it moves, now you go here, and this is apparently an improvement because this is actually, like, destabilized in some capacity, and, you know, maybe black has, like, rook b5. I don't know, I can't really, like, explain it, but the move is queen f3. You know, and maybe white has to go here to stabilize the center. So basically, they knew this, and I think Gukesh might have known this, but he forgets what to do, and he plays bishop to e6, which is not a bad move, but it's a fresh move. 17 moves. I mean, chess is so memorized. In some of these lines, it's nothing like it is at your level, and nothing like it is at my level. I didn't know anything about this. Now we have to play chess. Ding goes rook d2. Now queen f3 is played, but this gives white a little bit of time. See, this gives white some time to kind of consolidate the right position. And the difference with this position and this position is that here, if you play like this and you play, you know, this is the right move. But if you play rook g1, bishop e6, and then you play like this, black simply, you know, wins the pawn. So, but the way it's played in the game, rook e1, I guess it sort of becomes the same thing, I guess. So maybe Gukesh actually finds his way to the prep. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm as confused as you are. Bishop takes c4, queen takes c4, queen f5. So I don't know if you can call this a success in the opening. All the pieces are gone, but it is imbalanced. And like I said, game 6 always delivers. Game 6 is always a long, grueling battle. It's always the pivotal point in the match. And listen, Ding has a 46-minute time advantage. You talk about an opening success. I think that's a freaking opening success. Now, Gukesh is defending, right? So Ding's probably going to have to grab this pawn on c6 and give up this one. He can obviously try to protect that pawn with a move like queen c5. But it's a little bit slow. Black does get time to consolidate. Not to mention, black can actually trade the rooks. Probably be okay. And here, okay, this has been the trend of this entire match. If you've been following this match, Ding gets out to a pretty nice opening time advantage in almost every game. And then there is a moment, he thinks for a long time, and the time rebalances, right? Well, in this position, he thinks for 43 minutes. I would love to know what goes on in a top player's head when they spend 43 minutes on a move. Like, I would love to ask him. I've never spoken to Ding, but I want him to show me just what goes on up there. What is he looking at? What is he calculating? What is he deciding, you know? Because he takes, and, you know, Gukesh goes here. Now we got a game. I mean, this is not just going to be an easy draw. You know, white's got a 3-on-1, so white's going to push this pawn blob forward. Black has a 4-on-2. They've got kings on opposite sides. I mean, the boys are playing a very, very imbalanced game. And now Ding offers a queen trade, and I think we have a reveal as to what he was thinking about. Because he spends 8 more minutes on these two moves. The time advantage is gone, and Ding offers a queen trade, and when Gukesh leaves, he offers him another one. Ding is offering a draw. This is wild stuff. And it's been the story of the match. Magnus himself has basically said, Ding is happy not to lose. He's happy to play out the opening, and if he wants to, he's going to make a draw. The position is equal. He doesn't feel like playing it on. Magnus has said that. I'm not saying that because I don't have that authority to speak on the playing style of these players. I've never played these players. And I'm not going to be one of these sports pundits, like I said. Monday morning quarterback, you guys told me about that. But what? I mean, look, you know that meme with the guy in the stick and he's like touching the whatever it is, and he's like, do something? Hey, do something. That's how I'm feeling in this World Championship match. Like that's it. That was the game. As a spectator, I'm pretty frustrated. I gotta tell you, like, I really am. But Gukesh goes here. You talk about being a gangster. Gukesh is like, it's game 6. It's legacy time. This is defended. This is under attack. Why are we making a draw? I don't even want to draw. He accepts the slightly worse position of plus 0.3 instead of just repeating. He could have claimed the draw here, or he could have played this move and repeated. It was a draw. The draw was on the board. Offered by Ding after being up 50 minutes on the clock in the opening and having a pretty imbalanced game. Like, ultimately, someone's got to lose this match and somebody has to win it. And if Ding's strategy is just to take it to the tie breaks, I don't know what the strategy is at this point. They asked me yesterday, if you were Gukesh's boxing trainer, what would you tell him? And I would say, I said, I would tell Gukesh, don't pick a fight just because your opponent is not willing to. And Gukesh picks a fight just because his opponent is not willing to. Now, ultimately, the margin here is, you know, it's not crazy. But after Rook D1, G6, yeah, white is better. I mean, we are far from a decisive result, and, you know, here the computer, if you let it run for a while, I'm sure it's going to peter out into equality, but it's recommending moves like King C2. I mean, it's basically saying white has made all the improvements possible, so what white has to do from this position is play moves like A4. I don't know if you can play moves like this without looking at the eval bar, and they can't look at the eval bar during the game, but, you know, basically, there might come a time where, you know, if you just sit around and wait, white is going to have to mobilize the pawns in front of the king. This is going to be the only way to win the game. And that's a scary proposition for a person that's a relatively low risk player. So the only way to play for a win here is to advance these pawns. And if you just simply don't believe in that plan, you're going to, you know, keep the queen around. And, you know, Gukesh plays Rook E8. And Ding is still trying to trade the queens because this is actually an improvement of the structure. This position is easier to play for a win with white because there's no danger to your king, but yet according to the computer, it's more of a draw than the other position. Gukesh still denies the queen trade. I mean, this is championship stuff. It's stuff to get excited about. There's not enough pieces on the board for Gukesh to actually do anything with this, but and now Ding goes back to f4. And, Gukesh has to toe this line between wanting to play this position for a win and accidentally just, like, tiring himself out and getting dropped with a punch. But like Magnus said in the recap that we did, like, you can't win the fight if you don't throw any punches. And that's the advice that he would have given to Ding. So queen a5, and Ding plays a3. In fact, the craziest thing is, by going to this side of the board, Gukesh is, if anything, sending a signal to Ding, like the only way you can make any progress here is to move these 3 pieces. And if you're if you're just unwilling to move them, you will never win the game, because if you look at the position, this is the only thing white has. It's the only thing white's got. The position's imbalanced. Gukesh now thinks for a long time. Right around here, I actually went back to sleep because I thought this would be a very, very long game. He plays queen b5. This is the best move. Patrolling the b-pawn. Looking for an infiltration here. By the way, the game could end in a draw even after rook d5. Like, there are repetitions everywhere. I was really, I was really hesitant. I was really worried. Rook d4 is the move chosen by Ding. It's the best move. It attacks the pawn here. And look, if Gukesh is really careless and he allows this, this is a very common endgame concept called rooks on the 2nd, rooks on the 7th rank. All right? And queen h6, these kinds of ideas. h4, h5, you really don't want to weaken your king, especially with the presence of a queen. Don't have a weak king in an endgame, especially with queens on. Queen to e2. And now I was like, yo, Ding is not repeating. Ding's not repeating moves. I was hyped. I was like, oh man, Gukesh summoned the Chinese dragon. Let's go. Because again, Ding could have, left the center, but leaving the center doesn't make any sense, right? Here I thought, wait a minute, is he actually gonna... here's another repetition, right? Like, if Ding just wants to draw, man, he's going to get this draw. But if Gukesh plays in too risky of a manner, guess what? Remember that plan I told you about to just slowly bring these pawns forward? That's going to end up being a problem. And just so you understand, this is not close to winning. Like, look, if black just moves back and forth the rest of the game, there's actually a hanging pawn, so black can't really do that. Let's say black goes here, and white plays c4, and black goes king h8. And then white plays c5, and then black plays king g8, and white plays c6, and black plays king h8. Like, at a certain point, that pawn's going to be a problem. Now, I'm just going to, look, I'm going to just make a couple of very silly moves here to get back to another position, like, with a queen on e6. White is still winning here because ultimately, if that pawn makes it through and gets support, it's a massive problem for black. It's a massive problem. Your rooks are going to get traded. It's going to be really, really bad. That is the move that has to happen. Now, here Gukesh plays queen f3. And this is perhaps the biggest disadvantage of the game now. The point of queen f3 is that after this trade, the black rook attacks the pawn and counterplay is created very quickly. But if white plays queen g5, I don't know where black moves. I don't know what black's next move is. This was the moment that Gukesh played too close to the sun. Because now you can give a check. Now I'm just running to safety. The computer wants black to play a5. What? Okay. Maybe you want to get in, I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe king g7, but now white gets to play the c4 plan. And the second that rook c8 happens, you have queen e5 and you win a pawn. Like, at least you're going to be up a pawn. I mean, I don't know why you don't just play queen g5 out of inertia. Just like, I don't want to trade the queen. Obviously, if I trade the queen, I give my opponent the passed pawn. I give my opponent, even queen h6. I mean, it's not the best move, but like, it sort of makes sense. And to my shock and to my horror, my absolute horror, as a spectator of like 5 world championship matches in my lifetime that I can remember, king c2. And Gukesh just improves the structure. First of all, he gets connect 4. Now he has a protected pass pawn. And, you know, Ding goes h4, and Gukesh plays e3, and Ding consolidates. Rookie set, I mean, this is a completely random question mark. By the way, do you know what the best plan is here? It's c4, c5, b4. I mean, white can still just push. You could just push. You can just push. Okay, it's a draw. Obviously, it's a draw. It's always a draw. It's a rook endgame. But, like, what is the risk? And we just play king d3. We open up the king, and I took a 15-minute nap at this point because the game ended in a draw by repetition. Guys, I have never been this frustrated in World Championship recaps. Never. And whatever the match strategy is here, it's killing me. It's killing me as a spectator. If Ding wins this match, he is an absolute genius. Okay? He is a genius. If Ding's strategy in this match is to play slow and patiently and get Gukesh to be impatient, in this game, Gukesh literally fought on, rejected a draw by repetition, got himself tangled on f3. If at some point Ding flipped the switch and all of a sudden started putting some pressure, you know who would have been shook? Gukesh. Gukesh is young. There is an element of inexperience. Like, there is an element of nerves. If Ding at this point started to play on and put pressure, Gukesh has 11 minutes to make 6 more moves. 7 more moves. Queen g5 would have been a big moment. Yes, of course, Gukesh's chance to draw the game is still high, but... And look, ultimately, like, you're getting a recap here not because I could do any better. That's not the point. I'm giving you the fans' perspective. I am frustrated. Like, I'm frustrated. I'm that meme. I'm like the do something meme. I don't know how much more of this I can take. Luckily, we only have 9 more games max, and if they make it, it's a tie break. But Gukesh is the man. All right, like, he's trying. This game really showed that he was trying. There's nothing he can do though. I mean, he's not going to play to lose. He tried, and it could have been really bad. And like I said, if Ding won this game, and if Ding goes on to win this match because Gukesh overextends because he gets impatient, God bless. I'm gonna shut up. Like, the match worked perfectly. The strategy worked perfectly. Otherwise, there's even tons of grandmasters around the world tweeting, posting on social media. They don't get the strategy, and they're grandmasters. They don't get it. They don't understand what's going on. The match is tied 3-3 after 6 games. We've got 8 more games to go at a maximum and maybe a tiebreaker. And I'll see you all for game number 7. Tomorrow's a rest day, so we'll have a recap in 2 days. I need some rest. Get out of here.